the strength to do. So she just gave up. Because I'm not going to do it. I mean, it's not easy. Her dad was an extrovert at the time. He had 18 years in service and didn't get his certificate. Say hi.
He asked me how many girls are in training. The answer is, well, I don't know about in training. There's a lot of ladies that are pilots and hornets.
Nobody asked. I'm trying to volunteer.
We don't have any actually flew.
Cherry Point.
That being said,
Home of Marine Aviation. Cherry Point.
She's driving me nuts.
Right?
I got a patch I've had since 1954. My
That's a
first of all, my wife wouldn't
long
let me put it on. I did it anyway. My skipper on the squadron I was in there at Cherry Point said, take that off. When I got back here to the training command, the skipper here said, no, the instructor said, no, I can't wear something like that. It's disparaging.
These are right to you?
Yeah, but it's off. Why?
Well,
Could I?
about 3 weeks ago, I found my patch.
11:14.
I'm going to put it on my jacket.
Thanks.
It's a picture that says MCAS, Marine Corps Air Station, Cherry Point, North Carolina. There's this Dilbert guy with a little pointy tuft of hair on his head. He's sitting in a toilet. His hand is on the flushing hand. And the caption below it is, "Goodbye, cruel world." MCAS Cherry Point.
1946.
I love Cherry Point. I went there as a we had fun.
Yay!
Yes.
Here comes the crash crew. We call it, that's politically incorrect. We call it,
Pretty cool, huh?
all kinds of chairs are seating up in there, folks, and right in through here, or over in there, or up in there. It's kind of blue muff, here muff.
That truck that just went by, that's our NAS Pensacola. We used to call them crash trucks in my day. We're not allowed to say that anymore. They are the fire and rescue people. But there is always one of those at each end of the runway whenever the Blue Angels are practicing out here. So that's where they're headed right now. All right, Dr. Steve, can you hear me down there? Nope. Tom, can you hear me? You guys ready to go?
I'm number one.
Tim, you ready?
On the wave, folks.
I know
Don't
you
let me
were.
down.
Ken, are you ready down
I don't
there?
want you sitting there waving
All
your
right.
arms. I want you up on your feet. Whoa! You got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh, we almost stopped. Went over.
We have 6 of them, no backup. And every year we have 3-stage backup.
If we have a Tatiana Percival, Miss Percival, if you are here, we have your ID at the gate that you came through. So Miss Percival, if you are here and you're missing your ID, they have it for you at the gate where you came through.
I thought they were calling for a free t-shirt.
Good morning, Pensacola. Are you ready for some Blue Angels? Well, so are we. Folks, we are glad you are here. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all the staff and more than 300 volunteers of the National Naval Aviation Museum, we welcome you to Naval Air Station, Pensacola, Florida, and Forrest Sherman Field, the home of the Blue Angels. We've been watching the clouds. We know they're low. We may not get a high show today, but we will get a show. They will take off because they are going to practice today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for at least the past 15 years, we've been bringing folks out on this flight line. Not nearly the number of people that we have now, but we've been bringing people out here for a number of years, and we're able to do that every year as guests of the commanding officers of the Naval Air Station Pensacola. And we're able to do that because we leave this place as clean as it was when you arrived. So we have just a few rules for all of us to follow so that we all have a good time, we have fun, and we all stay safe. And you just saw a T-45 Goshawk just coming into what we call the break. They'll be landing here shortly. They got to get on the ground before the Blue Angels own the airspace, and they'll own that in about 15 minutes. All right, just a few rules to follow. One, I've talked about many times. Please do not leave any trash of any kind out on this flight line. Don't drop any trash down through those bleacher seats. If you do, we don't have a 100-person crew that comes in to clean up. So if you leave any trash, it all belongs to Tim. This is Tim's day. He has to clean up. And if he has to clean up after you, he will find you. All right? Please take all the trash with you. Again, no smoking of any kind out here. This is a no smoking area. That includes e-cigarettes, not even allowed on this base. So please, no smoking of any kind. Once the Blue Angels take off, we're going to ask that if you are seated in the bleachers or in chairs out here, we're going to ask that you stay seated at all times. Two reasons. One, that is for your safety and the safety of those around you. And also, it is for everyone's enjoyment, because if you stand up to take pictures, you're going to ruin it for somebody behind you. So please stay seated throughout the whole. This isn't like a football game where you got to stand up and cheer, all right? Now, you are allowed to cheer. You can go ooh and ah and yay, and you can clap and loud screams. They can't hear you. But let me tell you something, folks, they fly low enough, they will see you, and they want to know that you're having a good time. Some of you brought umbrellas. Congratulations. As soon as the Blue Angels get ready to take off, the umbrellas have got to come down, all right, so that you are not blocking anybody's view, being able to enjoy the show. It's going to warm out here today, and you're going to be sitting out in the sun for about another hour or so. So we ask you to be responsible for staying hydrated. That means drink water or Gatorade. And if you didn't bring anything with you, we have a snack bar to your left, and they have plenty of Gatorade and water for you. But we ask you that you stay hydrated, stay responsible for that. Every once in a while, we get somebody who doesn't listen to me, and they end up passing out. You don't want that to happen, all right? So stay hydrated today. There's going to be a little thing called jet noise. We like to call it the sound of freedom out here on the flight line. If you're bothered by that noise, it doesn't last very long as they fly by. But if that bothers you, you can cup your hands over your ears, or you can buy some earplugs. We have earplugs for sale over at the gift shop.
But they're not stopping much noise.
They don't.
And let's see, what else we got? We got good food, Chick-fil-A sandwiches. Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches are over there, along with Gatorade and water and snacks. And I think that's about it. Make sure you stop at a gift shop before you leave today. Take something with you when you leave here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, out here on the flight line, we have some of the greatest volunteers in the world that work out here on the flight line with you. Unfortunately, none of them are here today. This is what we call the Wednesday crew. So I'd like to take just about 5 minutes and introduce them to you. And I'm going to start way down to my right to your left. Way down there is a guy we call Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve is a U.S. Army veteran, served as a dentist in the Army. He was also a dental anesthesiologist. I have no idea what that is. If you're down there, don't smile at Dr. Steve. All he's going to do is look at your teeth. All right, coming down from Dr. Steve, this guy's name in the middle is Tom. Tom is a U.S. Army veteran, helicopter pilot. Yeah. This guy flew one of those helicopters called the CH-47. It has twin rotors. Amazing helicopter. That's my buddy Tom down there. Coming on down the line, guy called Big Mike. Mike is a veteran of the United States Air Force. You notice we got a diverse group out here. Mike hails from, he lives in South Dakota, comes down here to bother us during the colder months. We're trying to get him to stay forever. Mike was in his younger days, You ready for this? Mike was a crew chief on one of probably the greatest airplane ever built and is still flying today, and that is the B-52.
Woo!
We like to joke about Mike. We say, Mike is in the museum now. His airplane is still flying. All right, there's a cute girl. Courtney, can you stand up for a sec? Courtney is our official photographer. Now I want you to hold that lens up. Look at the lens on this camera. The rest of you should be ashamed. This young lady knows how she even makes me look good. Thank you, Courtney. Right next to Courtney, I apologize to you folks in the big bleachers up here. His name is Rod. You got Rod up there? Has he been nice to you? I got a feeling some money exchange hands. All right, a little bit about Rod. Rod is a veteran of the United States Marine Corps. He's an old aviator. He flew F-8 Crusaders for the Marines, and he spent in a total between active duty and reserve duty about 39 years in the Marine Corps. Wow. We got a lot of these young Marines around here. We like to tell them, take a look at Rod, because if you stay in the Marines for 39 years, this is what you're going to look like. One other thing about Rod, got his start in aviation as a wing walker for the Wright brothers. I told that last week, and somebody in a group last week turned to somebody and said, can that be? All right, now it even gets better coming down the line. Dave is the only one allowed to wear the red hat. Raise your hand, Dave. You talk about the Marine. All right, Dave joined the Marines in 1951 so he could go fight in Korea. He was a platoon leader in Korea. Later on became a Marine officer, and in Vietnam he was a battalion commander. Retired as a lieutenant colonel of the United States Marine Corps. Now you folks down in this area, I apologize to you. You have Delta Debbie, right? Let me tell you a little bit about Delta Debbie.
She's 86 years old.
She's called Delta Debbie because in her other life, she is a flight attendant for Delta Airlines. All right? So if you find yourself in Atlanta on an airliner going to South Africa, and you climb on that airliner and you're greeted by Delta Debbie, run. All right, Kurt, where are you? Kurt, turn around here. I got another guy back here. Kurt's one of our newbies. We call him Rookie. Now this guy, he's a U.S. Army veteran and worked in military police. All right? So when Kurt tells you to stop doing something, I recommend you stop doing it. All right?
Okay.
Pulled up beside me here. Kind of scared me pulling in behind me like this. I never know who's going to show up out here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet the director of the National Naval Aviation Museum, retired Navy Captain Sterling Gillum.
How's our announcer doing so far? What do you think? He is, without a doubt, with all apologies to Blue Angel number 7, Lieutenant Webb, Doug is the best announcer on the face of the planet, and certainly the best announcer you'll have today. All right, thanks for coming. Doug, it's a pleasure to watch you work.
Talk about money.
Thanks, buddy. All right. Where'd I leave off? All right, cute little blonde right in front of me. Her name is Patty. Patty's a retired school teacher of 32 years. When she tells you to sit down and shut up, I guarantee you're going to sit down and shut up, all right? Patty also would like to have been a naval aviator, didn't get that opportunity, so she did the next best thing. She married one. That would be me. What a lucky girl. All right, it just keeps getting better. All right, you folks down here, big apology to you. This is my friend Tim. Again, just to show you how diversified we really are. Another United States Army veteran. This guy flew helicopters in 3 different wars. He's done it all. But he's really famous for, the one I think about him is he flew the... I got it. I'm just pausing for effect.
That's the best announcer you got?
I know that. I'm just pausing for effect. That's all I'm doing. Ladies and gentlemen, he flew the Black Hawk helicopter.
The skipper denied it.
And he also was a test pilot in the Black Hawk. He's something else. This guy spent, how many, 34 years in the Army? Yeah. We got a letter from the Army one day, said, would you please take him? We don't have anything else he can do. Out here in the middle, I'm looking straight at him. This is Bob. This is another U.S. Air Force veteran. We got these all over the place here. And Bob worked in a little thing called security when he was in the U.S. Air Force, and that's all you're allowed to know. But we're glad to have him here. Bob is also a tour guide, a docent over at the museum. All right, we're about done here. The Blue Angel's going to be, they're at their aircraft right now, pre-flighting, getting ready to take off. On down the line, I got Jim down there. Jim, gosh, he served in the, oh, gee whiz. Just when you think things can't get any worse. I don't know what he told you, but it was all a lie. Jim served in the Coast Guard and the U.S. Army, all right? His flying experience, he said he learned to fly with his dad when he was 5 years old. And he also later on got to fly the, what's that famous airplane up in Michigan? The Ford Trimotor, yeah. All right, last but not least, on the far end, Brother Ken. Ken is a United States Marine. And ladies and gentlemen, this guy flew probably one of my favorite helicopters, a really famous helicopter. He flew, it's called the UH-1E Iroquois. You know it by the name of the Huey. And that's what Ken flew. Ken, good to have you here. All right, one last thing. Out in the crowd here somewhere is a guy named Mark. Mark is a retired naval officer. He was enlisted for many years, then became a naval officer. He has flown in P-3 aircraft, H-3 helicopters, H-60 helicopters, and later on he flew as a navigator in the S-3 Viking off aircraft carriers. Mark is our boss out here with the volunteers. So if you are unhappy when you leave here today and you want to write somebody a letter, make sure you include the name Mark. All right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, once in a while we have some guests out here that are pretty famous. We have some World War II vets, and I'd like to introduce them to you. And they're over in this area right here, I think. Is that right? Jim McGee, World War II veteran. He is 92 years old. Another gentleman named Hugh McNaughton. Hugh McNaughton, World War II vet. He's also 92 years old. And Todd Silverman, also a World War II vet. Where's Todd? Also 92 years old. Gentlemen, it is an honor to have you here with us today. All right, I have one more group I'd like to introduce, and then we're going to get the Blue Angels. Give the boss a call. Tell him we're almost ready, all right? We have a group of young people that come out here to help us as volunteers because we need them, because most of us are too old to do the heavy lifting. And we have some United States Marines, and these are young, I call them kids, all right? They may not like that, but they've just finished boot camp. They've then gone through 5 weeks of combat training. Nice. They then come to Pensacola, and they will They'll be working and learning, going to school for several weeks, learning about aircraft. Some of them will be air traffic controllers. Some of them will be mechanics. Some of them will work with weapons. Some of them will, there's all kinds of things that they're going to do, electricians. And they're waiting for their class date to start, and so they come out here and they help us. Ladies and gentlemen, before you leave here today, I hope you get a chance to shake the hand or maybe get your picture taken with a young United States Marine. Thanks, guys. And Patty just reminded me, my name is Doug, and I flew the A-6 Intruder, which was the greatest airplane ever made. That's it. All right. All right, we just saw some smoke. The Blue Angels are getting ready to taxi out. Now, like I say, the clouds are low. We may get a low show today. Or who knows, the skies may open up and we get a high show. We don't know until the boss takes them into the air.
Looks pretty clear there if we can move it that way. Quick primer for all you latecomers. You don't deserve it, but I'll give it to you anyway. 700 miles an hour, that's the fastest you'll see. When I say stand by, they're gone. It's coming from that direction.
All right, now one more thing. I'm sorry, Tim.
The slowest, 120 knots.
I know.
Cranked up like this, they'll be coming from that direction. Take your time, it takes 10 minutes.
When the Blue Angels get ready to taxi out,